Good evening, morning, Free Enterprise fans, and welcome to this first race of the semifinals of the Highway to the Threemus Zone. It is just past midnight in the Threemus Zone, and so we are here with the first race of Dia versus FF4FE. My name is Zoe Vermillion, and I'm joined by my late night comms partner, Allie. Allie, how you doing?
I am doing great, Zoe. How are you doing tonight?
I am wide awake because I am fortunate enough to live on the West Coast.
Well, I am not on the West Coast, but I am hoping I'm going to keep the energy up, or I'll just go, it's late, y'all.
Well, either way, I'll have enough energy for the both of us. So we are here. It's been a long journey. We are in our semifinal week, which lines up very nicely with the fact that we're in the semifinals. I wonder if someone planned that.
Much brighter names than me must have done that.
But we are here with this seed rolled by the one and only Asuka. Looking at our objectives, we have a vanilla ribbon room, destroy the super cannon, and defeat the bosses of Dwarf Castle. So underground access, definitely required. And then either a tower key, and then that forge, or there could be some shenanigans with Darkness Crystal Pass, depending on where things fall.
And it looks like Asuka may have forgotten to turn on some vanilla palettes here for our little girl Rydia.
Yep, starting with Iridia here in her glorious vanilla colors. Gonna have a whole whopping 30 hit points. We are going to be using this Iridia throughout the seed. Typically, you want to maybe pick up Iridia at the end when you go to do your grind, slingshot her all the way up to nuke, because she has a really bad experience curve, and it takes like 1 million experience to get her to nuke. But we won't have that option. You know, if we find some early firepower, maybe we can just keep her down the entire seed. But my money is on this this little summoner being a little useful in the early game, maybe with a dancing dagger.
Absolutely, a dancing dagger, or if our runners get lucky with a self summon. She does only need 25 mana points to cast that, and it is technically free.
Yep, absolutely. One of the things that Free Enterprise 4.1 did was it actually fixed that self glitch, but fortunately we left that as a flag that can be enabled, and so it is enabled for this tournament. So find a Sylph Orb either in a chest. I think they're now only in gated shops after the rebalance, but also maybe off of Hobbs, and get her a couple levels, give her 25 MP, and you're good to go.
But it looks like we are off, and we'll see who our runners get to see and pick up next. That is a Rosa.
And that is the lovely King of Summons coming to see away his favorite summoner and handing her something she can use, a Flame Whip. Thanks, Dad.
So very helpful. But we did see Fleury immediately picking up that Rosa, whereas Dia told her to just wait a little while in Mysidia.
Yeah, Dia is a huge fan of mage strats. Might be hoping to maybe get a few more black mages until she needs to pick up that Rosa. A couple different things that could be in her mind. Maybe just wants to get a better lay of the land, thinking she's going to have to go back to the Tower Wishes regardless. Maybe don't lock yourself into a Rosa this early, even though Rosa is the best healer in the game. Don't tell Demi I said that.
And we get double samurai armor and a Cecil there in the inn.
And a Cecil here in the Watery Pass, as well as a Thunderclaw.
Thunderclaw, very nice pickup, especially if they end up having to use a Yang. And both our runners just kind of saying no to that Cecil right now.
Yeah, that's 2 Cecils. So if either of these runners gets an Excalibur or a Crystal Sword, there's something about having 2 Cecils that's really important. And I know PK is pretty big fan of second Cecil.
Yep, one caveat of our tournament this time was that we do have vanilla agility turned on. So if you have a Cecil in your party, he is determining that agility for your entire party.
Yep, so having a single Cecil in your party that you level up to maybe make use of an Excalibur or Crystal Sword can be an amazing source of damage. It can really be quite a literal anchor on the rest of your party. Not to try and use a pun there, considering we call that agility anchor, but this time it's in the bad sense.
Yep, but if you do have two Cecils, you can level up one of them with no worries, smack the other one in the center slot, leave him dead, and you've still got a nice, good, low-level agility anchor.
Yep, and Dia found a couple interesting things here in Damsian. Found a Change Rod. That's a nice +5 Wisdom boost for this Rydia. Or this Palom that she also just found. Palom being the better Black Mage. Despite getting Nuke 2 levels later, his experience curve is a lot better, so he gets it at about 100,000 experience sooner. Also gets access to Quake at level 23 instead of like 44, and can be a very, very good source of early game damage to help get through the start of this seed.
Yep, typically you see a Palom, you are not mad about it. And it looks like Dia is going to give us another check on the two characters here.
We have a couple of melee boys. We have a Kain and a Yang. So the Yang can make use of that Thunderclaw, affectionately known as a Punch Mage, because just like the mages, he gets stronger primarily with levels. Gear does help a little bit, but also he can hit elemental weaknesses with all of his claws. Kain, it's pretty good. Very good agility growth, very good physical fighter. For Dia, I think the best thing about seeing that Kain is if she runs across a pretty nasty Valvalis somewhere, she's going to have an out as long as she still has a slot in her party.
Yep, there are a handful of places where a Valvalis can just annihilate a mage party, especially up on the moon, that ribbon room especially. You get a Valvalis there with a mage-only party, you are not doing any damage with spells.
Yeah, the Kain will allow you to jump and get her out of that tornado form and make her vulnerable to spells again. So especially if Valvalis is hard blocking your path to the end of the seed, having a Kain available is very good. Having a Rosa that can use aim will also work, because aim will bypass it completely as long as she's not in the middle slot. But it can be a very slow battle if you're relying on Rosa to shoot the Valvalis with arrows in a moon spot.
But we do see a Porum there on Mount Ordeals. Our tracker Gambit telling us that Dia did take that Porum.
Yep, Dia, filling up the party with mages, now has access to Twin Magic. Twin Magic is very good in the early game. It does a couple of really handy things. One, you can bluff with Palom and use Twin with Porum, and as long as you have your party set up correctly, Palom's Wisdom stat will be used, so the Twin spell will actually gain that buff. And two, on bosses like Ogopogo that normally react really poorly to being hit with black magic, Twin doesn't trigger that. So if we run into a pretty nasty Ogopogo in one of these early spots where we don't quite have the power to get through it, Twin will allow us through there.
And we also find a Tella here on Mount Hobbs.
Yeah, so there's more mages. Tella, very good. Will enable a D-Machine grind once the Darkness Crystal is found, which is basically what you want to see. Knocking this Rydia down to keep her at level 1 for slingshot viability. If we come across another mage, or Dia may even decide to take that Kain or Yang if we haven't yet seen that Valvalis. Once we get this Darkness Crystal, this seed is going to go pretty quickly.
And manages to take down that plague. Get some tier 2 spells on Palom. Nice ice too to kind of make bosses a little bit easier.
Yeah, the ice 2, after even a single bluff, can hit most of these early game bosses for a good chunk of their HP. Will allow you to get through them very easily. Dia's really just kind of prioritizing getting through this early game really quickly. Heading over here to Fabul to do shopping, not going straight to Antlion. Might just be hoping to get lucky and pull something like a Darkness Crystal right now and just go ahead and grind and then finish the seed.
And meanwhile, on Fleury's side, Fleury did take that cane immediately. May just want to be like, look, I just want to make sure that if there's a Valvalis somewhere rude, I've got what I need to get through.
Yeah, I don't hate taking the cane there. Defends against the Valvalis and also a good source of early physical damage. Have a Hailed him at Fabul, and well, there's that Ogopogo. Fleury does not have access to the twin magic that I had mentioned. We'll get through his counter, but does have access to this cane. Not going to do a ton of damage unless he has something better than a spear, but even then, won't be too rough.
And this is 3 out of 5 of the moon bosses already found. So when you see another Sparkle, might start to worry.
Yeah, we have 2 left. We have the D-Lunars, and we have everyone's favorite, Wyvern. So, yeah, you see a Lunar Sparkle from now on, and you have to think about what spot you're in, and if you're going to really enjoy fighting either of those bosses. But both of these Lunar bosses are now down. Dia is rewarded with a Baron Key for her efforts, and Fleury gets the early Darkness Crystal.
Oh my.
Okay. Yeah, Dia, go to Antlion.
And I think she heard you because she is beelining for that Darkness Crystal.
Yeah, and I think she will probably get through this a little bit faster with the twin magic. But well, if Dia wants after this, she can go finish out her party. Fleury's going to get the good news about this Hobbs character being a Tella after having just gotten that Darkness Crystal. We might be in dueling grinds in the next 10 minutes.
Now, our runners do still have to complete ordeals.
Ah, okay. 20 minutes.
But I suspect both of our runners will get all of these children up to strong levels and, yeah, just kind of blaze through the rest of the seed.
And there we go. That flare hits for 1,400 damage, takes out Ogopogo. Dia gets her Darkness Crystal. And yeah, so she's got to be thinking, okay, ordeals. Let's go to ordeals. Fleury, meanwhile, picked up the Tella, filled up his party. So he doesn't have the Porum. Dia doesn't have the Rosa or the Cane. So we are going to see some form of party difference, which is always kind of nice to see in these races.
And Groundflyer pointing out, by picking up that Tella, Dia does not have to walk back out and is able to use exit.
Yep. And chat also pointing out that Fleury doesn't have twin magic, which would have made that plague fight go a little bit faster. So Dia kind of grabbed some time advantage both through the Ogopogo fight, the plague fight, and also through having exit for Antlion Cave. And I know I said both and listed 3 things. I can words good.
We words good here at Free Enterprise.
Look, I'm a programmer. Off by 1 errors are kind of my deal.
But Fleury, kind of taking that same route that Dia did, heading to Fabul, may be hoping for something that'll get him another character check, or might just be looking for things like life potions.
If he's looking for life potions, he will be happy, because this is exactly where Dia found hers. She bought 40 of them. Well, Dia is making the trek up ordeals to get this Tella online, finds the Kaipo guards here at the front attack spot. Twin Magic says, okay, goodbye.
Yeah, not a boss you really want to see in such an easy location, but the faster you get through Mount Ordeals, the sooner you get everybody throwing out big numbers.
Yep, and this is a boss that you don't really want to see in the back attack spot. This is my favorite boss to see in the back attack spot as a commentator, because we're maybe, depending on how quickly he dies, we might get to see the Zantetsuken around the world. Not with this lit too. I don't think so. Never mind. Oh, maybe.
Maybe this lit too.
I thought that was going to hit for a little harder.
Dia throwing a panic comet, and it is enough to take down this Odin.
It is enough. So, sorry, chat. No Zantetsuken around the world. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you can go and if you use the test generator on FE, you can place Odin here and just let him use Zantetsuken. It is up there with the kick around the world and plagues backwards numbers.
Dia not even saving after that. Just gonna rush in here.
This is Magma Key. This is going to be double value.
Zoe, you're a witch.
I'm a red witch, to be precise.
And just a Bahamut here. Definitely not scary at all.
Yeah. There's 2 free fights up here you didn't really want to see here. Maybe somewhere like that ribbon room or even in Dwarf Castle. But now we are either a tower key or both pieces of the forge away from go mode. Oscar really wants to make sure she gets to work on time.
And thankfully, all Tellas learned Meteo.
Hey, with a Soma drop, that can be very useful.
I've thrown a YOLO Tella Meteo at CPU in some locations.
I have very frequently used Tella with Meteo on Calbrena at Leviathan spot. The game cares not for who's casting Meteo. It's still going to hit very hard.
But it looks like Dia might be checking to see who's here in the Baron Inn. Oh, nope, just doing a reset and getting ready to do D-Machines.
Yep. One important thing to note, and I know Dia knows this, I'm going to let chat know. If she were to grind here with 4 characters, Iridia, despite still being level 1, would not be Slingshot. You must have a party of 5 members to be Slingshot. So I imagine Dia is setting up the manip here. We'll head over to Mysidia to wake the big whale. We'll walk right back into Mysidia to the Tower of Witches, grab either that Yang or that Cane, and then head up to the Giant to do her grind. I personally think Dia will take the Yang. That's higher damage potential. The only reason she takes that Cane is if she is actively worried about a Valvalis. The Seed will go probably a little bit slower with that Cane, but will be much safer.
Well, in chat pointing out, there is still a Rosa there. She may just say, I'm not, if Valvalis is in a bad spot, I'm just going to die.
She's been known to do that. In the table stage, she lost one race, and she lost that race to a very nasty Valvalis at the Murasame altar, and she basically, like, at the end of the race was, yeah, no, there was one thing that punished me there, and it was a hard required Valvalis. I'm not upset. The seed generation has to be particularly rude to make that an absolute punisher for taking an all mage party, and Dia kind of relies on that.
But we see Fleury getting the bad news about the Odin here. We have a second chance for our our Odin around the world.
Good attempt. It's a hard word to say.
I don't say normal words well. I'm not going to go for the advanced words yet.
Yeah, Zentetsuken has like 2 more syllables than most normal words. Don't reset. Don't reset. Yeah! Thank you, Fleury.
But we do see Dia taking that Yang. Gonna go for a little bit safer. Rose is gonna sit on the bench this time.
Yep. Going for the medium difficulty setting, I would say that Rosa probably would have been hard, Yang was medium, and Kane would be easy, but take more time. Also, just like I really want to thank Fleury there. I have to think that he let that play out the way it did so that chat could see it, because as soon as you see that he's casting Odin, you know you're dead. It's faster just to reset. But he wanted to show you all the Zentetsuken around the world, and he deserves at least one hype emote for that.
He is good people.
As one person who likes to style during races to another, I appreciate Fleury for that. When I backrode a Yang in my race against Rex and lost the race, Fleury was like, "Nah, you won that race in my heart because you backrode in the middle of a race." So we have a certain kinship for style.
It looks like we might be seeing it again, unfortunately. Having a little bit of a harder time here getting this Odin down.
Yep. Dia, stop menuing so fast. I can't see what your levels are to see if your Yang's in slingshot range.
Should be a base level, so math.
I was just trying to see the third highest, which is 19. Okay, cool. Yeah, so both Rydia and Yang will be slingshot here. In order to get this Rydia to nuke, normally you need about 24 D machines. It's actually 23. But we usually go 12 plus 12, which is 12 and then 12 life potions. Palom's probably going to need about 22 to get there, so 11 plus 11, and without getting a slingshot means that Rydia is going to be well there, and Yang's just gonna it's gonna be like Rocky in here.
Well, he does have his little Mac palette.
It's my favorite Yang palette. I'm actually curious. I'm gonna see if I can predict what level Yang will get here. Hold on. Since I am the Red Witch.
But Fleury has gotten his magma key and is fighting this Bahamut. And I suspect we will see a quick step manipulation and grind from Fleury as well.
I think we're going to have a level 60 Yang.
Is this Price is Right rules?
No. Exexies.
Well, you are probably far better with math than I am, and have gotten more sleep, so I am going to trust you.
You've played enough Among Us with me. You should know never to trust me.
But it looks like Fleury is planning on slingshotting his Palom and Rydia. Took down the two kids. And yeah, should be a quick grind for them as well.
Dia is a decent way into this grind. Fleury is going to likely go set up the... it's not correct to really call it a manip, because you're not really manipulating anything. You're just getting information based off of kind of the predictability of the RNG. It's going to find out how long it will take to get the D machine grind and then set that up. Yeah, I think someone in chat said it. At this point, Fleury's going to have to make up some time here. Dia's going to be in a dead-on sprint to the end of the seed, and Fleury's got to hope that the tower key is probably not in that ribbon room and not at Dwarf Castle, and that they're going to end up diverging, and Fleury just makes the right call, and that it makes up enough time. Plenty of things could still go wrong on Dia's end that would catch Fleury up by no action of his own. But at this point in the tournament, we're in the semifinals. Relying on your opponent to make a mistake is probably a bit risky.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of what the best case scenario, or, well, the worst case scenario for the runners, the best case scenario that would allow both these runners to kind of catch up to each other and be on the same playing field. Would you like to hear it?
Yeah. I have my idea. I'd like to hear yours.
Earth Crystal at D-Mist. D-Mist is at Magus Sisters. Behind the Earth Crystal is the Tower Key, which holds one part of Forge.
You're going for what normally is my trolley chain. I'm actually going for something slightly different here. And this is something that Fleury would like to see and Dia would not. And that would be something along the lines of a Valvalis at a moon spot, maybe like Cave Bahamut, where Fleury's Cane will allow him to get through it sooner. So Dia might see that and reset out and go check elsewhere, even with the Yang in the party, because that spot is pretty punchy. Okay, I'll go a ribbon spot. Yeah, thanks, Pancras. I couldn't remember where was nukable, and I don't have the chart up, so thank you.
Yeah, I think any of the moon bosses except for Bahamut are unnukable.
Fleury showing off the incredibly rare beach battle scene. I don't think I knew that that was a battle background in this game, to be completely honest.
I wonder if some of our runners pick their pathing for getting the encounters just to see that background. Also, I have no idea how many D-Machines Fleury has killed.
Antidale confirming that both Fleury and Antidale route their steps there to try and get that beach scene. So thank you both. And, oh, I heard you go.
I was just going to say, for those in chat who may not know what is going on and why we're continuously killing this one D-Machine and then trying to bring it back to life and failing, this is a typical grind that we like to do. This searcher will summon a D-Machine, which gives lots of experience. And Final Fantasy IV didn't really code enemies with vitality, so when we resurrect them, they have 0 vitality and they die.
Yep, and you get all that juicy extra experience, which from a D-Machine is 41,500. And we use this grind because of a couple of kind of the convergence of a few mechanics. One, the beamers at the start of the match only do an HP-based attack. The D-Machines themselves only use fire, which is a HP-based attack. They do have a physical counter, which if you deal damage to them, they will punch someone. But they're vulnerable to the weak spell, which brings them down to single-digit hit points. So as long as you hit them with a weak spell and then finish them off, they don't get to punch, and you're free to use the life glitch on them. And because of that, you can just keep repeatedly summoning them from the searcher and kill as many as you need, life glitch as many as you need to get all the experience to get your characters where you want them, which in a randomizer that has a slingshot mechanic, meaning that if a character is 5 levels or more below the median level in your party, not mean, median, very important, they will gain double experience until they are no longer 5 levels below the median. That only happens, that change only happens after battle. So as long as they're less than 5 before going into the battle, they'll get double experience for every single one that you kill. Also,
Yes.
level 61 Yang, so womp womp, I did lose. I would have won on Price is Right rules, so you offered me an out. I didn't take it.
But at this point, I suspect we will be seeing Dia just rushing anything and everything that stands in her way.
Yeah. She's got that magma key. I imagine that the first thing she will do is go underground, take out the dwarf castle. She's probably hoping to get a tower key from that or from the Feymarch free chest. That way she can just do super cannon while she's down there, and then when she goes up to do ribbon room, she'll get her crystal and can go right to Zeromus. That is kind of the script that I imagine she's playing out in her head for her routing. And if that pays off, this will be over very, very soon.
You definitely want to check your freebies while you're underground. Nothing worse than losing to a free item in the Feymarch chest.
Yeah. Chat's all talking about the optimal routing. I think dwarf first. It's a required objective. You can get your tower key there and be done. If you don't get it there, Feymarch freebie, peek the Feymarch bosses. I'd probably honestly take them while you're here so that you don't have to double back down unless they're particularly nasty. And then from there, if you still haven't gotten it, do Sheila 1. And then I'd probably head up to the ribbon room and see if it's there.
So that Yang has a lot of experience. And 260s. Or not experience, health.
Yes.
So
Yang's
technically you're correct.
Yeah, I was just thinking my crystal ball showed me the wrong stat. No, Yang's HP actually has a fun little quirk to it, that once he gets to about 6,000 hit points, he just stops gaining hit points. Like, his HP growth just becomes 0.
And Baigen about to have a real bad time.
Oh, is that a Meteo queued up? I love it.
Now, Baigen is still pretty punchy, and that Porum with 0 equipment in the front is going to get hurt a little bit, but I don't see this being too much of a problem.
Hey, just in time for me to finish my smoothie. And the rocks fall, and Baigen does as well.
Unfortunately, Iridia doesn't learn Meteo until level 60.
Yeah, for some reason. Yang, you're supposed to be in the bed in the Sylph Cave. What are you doing? Dia, send him back to bed.
And that was a nice little hit from Nuke.
Yep, and now we get to watch the glorious hand of Yang, I guess, in this case. Take the... Did they ever actually explain how Golbez's hand was able to, like, be disconnected, but yet still have the crystal, but then he still has both hands later?
I guess I think of it like in D&D where you can summon a spectral hand.
Oh, he cast Mage Hand. Got it.
I just don't understand why one of the protagonists with the nice metal boots doesn't just punt it. Skull Kitty saying that it is a gauntlet, but not his actual hand. Punt.
Someone else saying that it was actually his Shadow Dragon the entire time, both Golbez and Shadow, and it wasn't Golbez at all. But yeah, that was a pass. So even if you need to find the tower key on the moon now, you can just easily come back down. That was vanilla.
No hook to turn it in, so not really something you have to worry about.
Yeah. But I imagine after checking these bosses, potentially going ahead and killing them, which I think is the proper routing decision while you're still underground, without a tower key in hand after these two bosses, heading over to Dushila 1, and then probably we'll see a full clear at the moon, because Dia now has the pass in hand. She doesn't need to worry about ever having to go back. Was it wave? Let me show you how.
I believe this is a leg.
This is a leg. Everyone say hi, leg.
And you don't really have to worry about...
It's Sorry, Yang survived that glare.
I don't think I've ever seen anyone survive that glare in this spot.
Oh, that was too funny.
And this leg just doesn't want to go down.
Everyone say bye, leg.
Bye, leg.
Well, maybe you stay underground a bit more if this mom bomb doesn't have your tower key.
And Flurry has thrown his key into the well, which is another one of those plot points that is just very strange.
Yeah, like... The more confusing part is I thought that we had renamed like something else into the magma key when I started playing for Enterprise, and my knowledge of vanilla has been about 20 years. And then I went and looked it up and I was like, oh no, it was just called the magma key in the original. Why? Why does dropping a key down a well do this? Is there someone at the bottom that uses that key to like turn on a machine that blows up the top of the mountain? Hey, we can turn in that rat tail now.
Yep, I could see Dia going ahead and getting that rat tail turned in.
Yeah, set up Sheila 1, turn in the rat tail. So I want to pivot my troll here. You said demist at Maga Sisters, leading to an Earth Crystal into the Tower Key into a piece of Forge. How about demist at King Queen Eblin, leading into Tower Key, leading into a piece of the Forge?
That's pretty disgusting. I like it.
Meanwhile, Flurry has made it to Dwarf Castle, is going to deal with Baigen and Yang himself, while Dia takes this very painful dive down into the Sylph Cave. Seeing that Yang has indeed returned to the bed from Dwarf Castle, Yang is such a good boy. And now we're going to go tell Sheila how good a boy her husband is.
And we'll see if Sheila is holding on to the goods today, or maybe something behind that rat tail. Or it's all behind the moon.
Chat also pointing out demist at CPU holding the tower key into that chain would be pretty disgusting. Oh!
Crystal Sword Cecil go burr.
We had 2 Cecils available. But I guess the hook was locked behind that mom bomb. Had all that stuff come from freebies, that would have been actually really funny. There's 1 in every seed. There's not actually always 1 in every seed, but I have to fulfill the meme because PK isn't near a microphone.
I think I promised some people that there was 1 in every seed, and then I rolled 1 and there wasn't, and they were very mad at me.
Oh, that was me, wasn't it?
I think it was.
Yeah. I remember that.
Oh.
Tower key, we're in go mode!
So, depending on what is up at the ribbon room, this could be an almost completely free seed.
Yeah, because what we had, the Magma Key on our deals, which we were going to do anyway to enable our grind. Darkness Crystal was at Antlion. The Paz came from an objective. The Sheila 1 check is free with the Magma Key. Yeah, there isn't really anything nasty standing in our way anywhere thus far. Like the Baigen at that Calbrana spot is pretty obnoxious, but we had to tell on Hobbs. There was no way that was going to be particularly difficult. Valvalis at Ribbon Room would be a problem with an asterisk. That asterisk meaning it would slow Dia down a bit because she would have to get through it by berserking that Yang, whereas Fleury would be able to use Kane to get through it quicker. But I don't think quicker enough to make up enough time. Fleury has done Dwarf Castle, it looks like, and is now going to go to the moon rather than checking freebies.
Oh no.
I actually kind of like this. He might feel behind, just knowing that there was a Porm available, or he could just be going to do his objectives. There is some logic to this. The two kind of ground rules of free enterprise racing are check your freebies, do your objectives, and it's pretty often debated which one comes first. Doing objectives, I think, usually comes first because it can lead you to what else you need. But if you're already underground and you have a couple of underground freebies, he didn't even go to Fey March. I think you have to check those before you take the trip all the way to the moon.
Yep. Well, and knowing that you have that pass, if you go ahead and do the Ribbon Room up here, you know that even if you have to go back to the Earth, you can immediately get to Zeromus.
That is very true. Could luck out, and the Ribbon Room could hold both pieces of the Forge, and then that might actually make this a very close race. Dia is going to be heading up to take out that Ribbon Room, probably about the same time that Fleury will be leaving it. So that's kind of the one scenario where this really tips the balance back towards being really close, and that's a very, very much a long shot. But I have seen some absolutely ridiculous key item placement throughout this tournament that I would be excited, but not necessarily surprised.
Yep. Crazy things can happen. Rando definitely loves to rando.
And chat talking about how jetty the seed was, and some people tend to think that jet seeds are free seeds. Jet seeds are incredibly stressful, especially compared to something where it's kind of a bit of a longer, like, drawn out seed, because in a jet seed, there's just no room for error. If your opponent found the same path that you did, it's just a pure execution battle, and that can be incredibly stressful.
Absolutely. And these runners know they are both very, very good. Dia and Fleury love to play matches against each other. I'm not sure what round we're in with them, but they know each other very well, and they know their play style.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
That is, that's the opposite of rude.
Yeah, that's like the antithesis of Valvalis right now. That is Water Hag. This spot has 42,000 hit points, or 3 hits if it's Water Hag. Believe in yourself. You can make it if you try.
So yeah, I think the rudest thing in the seed was probably that Beigen.
I think the rudest thing in the seed was that Ogopogo at Antlion.
Yeah, that's true. That did take a little bit of time too.
Well, I didn't see what the first item was, but I definitely saw the second one was an apple.
That is pan.
As a pan, that could still lead to both pieces, but that time to go do it would be quite an investment, and I don't think Fleury is going to be leaving the moon with that pass in hand right now.
Nope, I suspect we are going to see a full clear of the moon.
I suspect the exact same thing. Hi, Pain Man. You should be fine. Dia is reached the save room, will be heading into the ribbon room. We'll be very happy to see Waterhag here. Maybe a little scared because you see this fight and you go, oh boy, if my opponent beat me here, this may be bad.
And we see a very kind hit from Waterhag onto that Tella.
Thank you, Boardface AI. Well, there's music. So now I have a question for chat. And for you, Allie. You have a pass in hand. You're already down at the save room. So after you get this crystal, you could just save and walk down to Zeromus. But would you consider instead exiting out and taking the big whale to use that pass store? Maybe just in case things go poorly and you don't have to make the walk again? Even though I know Dia is almost definitely going to swag walk here because she's Dia.
I wouldn't, but I don't think that far ahead. Yeah, Dia.
Yeah.
Nope.
Okay, cool. We have the entire duration of a swag walk to talk about what Dia is about to be walking into here. Zeromus is, I think Baka puts it, too big and too bad to put anywhere else but in the innermost depths, that's hard to say, of the lunar subterrane. So we leave him where he's at. We let him be, and we will fight him in any seed that doesn't have a win game objective. But because fighting the same boss fight can get a bit repetitive, even if you're going in with a different party each time, it can get kind of bland. So rather than look at the same old ugly mug every single seed, Boardface and Scala Kitty collectively have created over 450 different Zeromus sprites inspired by all sorts of pop culture, other RPGs, video games, memes, everything like that. And each seed gets one randomly picked from that pool, which leads us to ask the question. LSL, you get to ask it.
Whose butt are we gonna kick tonight?
And we got it in, at least on my screen, before the battle started, which is amazing.
I like to think that Zeromus, behind him is his closet, and he has all of these outfits, and he just likes to try on different things. He's got his favorites, like Kaibamus, but he just likes to try on different outfits and likes to look cute.
What is your favorite Z sprite, Allie?
The table Flippy-Miss.
Table Flip-Miss is very good. Mine for the longest time was Mother-Miss from La Milana. But I have a new favorite that I don't know if anybody besides myself has seen, that I'm going to keep a secret until it comes up in a race. This is a really cool sprite.
Is she wearing Bowser's head as a belt?
I'm going to say yes. I'm jealous of those wings. I'm assuming those are wings. If they're not wings, I want them to be wings so I can be jealous of them. And chat and Scala and everybody else is confirming that this is from Bloodstained Curse of the Moon, a game I've yet to play, but definitely enjoy the art from.
And that is a camel.
I can only kind of see it. It still looks like Bowser Scala.
It's very lovely, Scala, but my headcanon now says it's Bowser.
Also, while we were talking about the sprites and everything, Dia is well underway with reflex strats. I explained this a lot, and I've already talked about math a lot. Do you want to talk about this one, or should I?
Sure, I can try.
Okay.
So the developers wanted Zeromus to have a whole hunk of HP, like 120,000 or something thereabouts. which was more than the Super Nintendo knew how to handle. It doesn't like numbers bigger than about 65,000 and change. So they coded in when you do about 45,000 hit points in direct damage, it triggers a script where he completely refills his health. But it didn't take into account reflected spells. So if you reflect something onto Zeromus, it doesn't ever hit that trigger. So instead of having to do 100,000 or so, you only have to do 65,000.
Give you a 9 out of 10. Very few small mistakes, but you got the gist of it. That's a good timing. It's done.
We're done.
We're done. Dia has finished with an official Discord race bot time of 52 minutes and 41 seconds. Asuka, I think you're gonna make it to work on time. We will see if we can be joined by Dia for this interview. But huge GGs to Dia, and I heard the distinctive Discord sound that Dia is here.
Hello.
Hi, Dia. How you doing?
Hi.
GG's. This was definitely a seed.
Yeah, Oscar decided instead of rolling hot garbage to roll scary jet seed so she gets some sleep.
Yeah, exactly. We were talking a bit earlier. Jet seeds are very scary because there's no room for error.
Yeah, and like you have a seed like this, which is open, and a jet seed. It's just like, oh no.
Yeah. I really just have one question. You played basically flawlessly. The biggest question I really have is, I know you love mage parties. You had a Rosa available at the Tower of Wishes, but you took the Yang. Was that Val protection or
Novelist insurance. I didn't have a weapon for Kane, and Yang would do better against other bosses. So like that Mom Bomb, just because Kane didn't have a weapon really. His only job would be to jump on Val. But Yang can still put up some decent damage numbers for me, even in other fights, so I took him instead.
That pretty much lines up with my analysis at the time, which was Rosa would have been the hardest route, but probably maybe the fastest on Zeromus. Yang is kind of like the medium, the good balance between the two, and then Kane probably would have been the slowest, but definitely the safest on a Valvalis fight in particular. But yeah, huge GGs. You're now 1 win away from making it all the way to the finals. How are you feeling?
Nervous.
Bet.
I'm ready, just ready to get through this tournament and take a long break after.
Yeah,
Take some time off.
Yeah. Take some time off. I think a lot of us are going to be taking a bit of a break from Free Enterprise when this is done. I fortunately got eliminated early, so I'm still happy to play, but this tournament has been going on for I think just past 3 months now that we're officially into November. So yeah, it's been a very long trek, but with this race in the books, we have at minimum 6 more races and at most 10 more races until this tournament is done with.
It's been a long one, and like even though like I finished my matches in the very first stage of the tournament super early, it's not like I wasn't doing any free enterprise after that. I was grinding this flag set, so I've been on this flag set for longer than most people, so I'm kind of ready to get through it.
Ready to maybe do something a little different, a little sillier, a little harder, a little easier.
All the above. And just do some things that aren't free enterprise as well.
Yeah, definitely. Well, like Zoe said, you played this flawlessly. It was great to watch. We were on the edge of our seats during that Odin fight. But do you have anything else you'd like to add?
So just remember, Rosa isn't always the best fight mage. Cool.
Ow. Okay, I felt that when I said it there. I said at the start of the game. Ow.
Yeah, Twin Magic put in a lot of work this seed.
Yeah, we were talking. Yeah, we were talking about like what the most rude thing in the seed was. And I said it was probably that Ogopogo at Antlion, which having Twin Magic just let you get through completely.
Yeah, just Twin's really, really good for the early game. So, like, I definitely would have taken 2 Paladins over a Porn there, but Porn still, like, if you bluff, cast Twin with the next one, it's using Paladin's magic stat anyways. So you're gonna get the damage in, and it doesn't really matter who the second Twin is.
And it looks like you're showing us music here. I'm going to try and pronounce this really poorly. But this is the Aria di Mezzo Carattere from Final Fantasy VI. Very good song.
Yep, fantastic song. And yeah.
Yeah, GG's. Thank you for running Dia, and thank you for yet another midnight race. Are you planning on trying to do one more for the finals if you make it there?
We'll have to see what happens there.
Completely understandable. Fleury has finished getting his crystal and is going into his Z fight, so he'll be not too far behind you.
And thanks to both of you for the commentary, and thanks to Gambit and Asuka for the tracking and restream.
Thank you for running. Big shout outs to Dia, our winner tonight. Make sure you give both of these runners a follow. They are just fantastic, and you won't regret it. And shout outs to our behind the scenes team. This seed went by very quickly, so we didn't get much downtime to do the shout out before, but we've got Asuka424 behind the scenes on the restream, Gambit017 doing our tracking, and then across from me here in the booth, the lovely Ali, whose name I will never say fully because I can never pronounce it correctly.
And of course, the wonderful Zoe Vermilion, the Red Witch. It's always a pleasure to do comms with you.
It is always a pleasure. Late night comms with Ali, definitely a highlight of me joining the Free Enterprise Restream team.
But we see Fleury getting ready to take on Graymorius?
Gremorimus? Maybe? We're just going to go with Gremory.
Look, we know I don't word well, so.
I mean, after my probably poor showing of trying to pronounce the heart music, I don't know if I could say I word good anymore either.
Italian's hard, y'all. But we see Tella doing work with that Cure 4. Cure 4s are great from Tella if they're direct target because it does all of their hit points.
Yep. Cure 4, single target Cure 4 cares not for what your willpower is. It'll just heal a character for their maximum HP regardless. In that sense, you can consider it a utility spell, which is what Tella is best at.
But we're seeing a pretty standard Z fight from Fleury, more reflecting.
Yep, reflect strats are typically the fastest. They're consistent. They can go off the rails occasionally, which keeps me from saying they're the safest, but very, very common, especially in this flag set when you're primarily going to be doing a D-machine grind because you do not have sirens available. Berserk strats not having easy access to Bacchus mines. Reflect strats are typically what we see here. The other option is usually something like low-level strats, rather than doing Berserk strats. Celeste, if you wanted to be guest commentator, you need to get here sooner.
Meow.
She's a good cat. She just jumped in my lap, but she's not very vocal.
She just wanted to come hear the song that was playing. It's the song of her people.
Yes. Because her namesake is, of course, because I'm a huge Final Fantasy nerd, Celeste from Final Fantasy VI. See if I can get the mic closer. Maybe you can hear her purr.
But with that, Fleury has finished with a time of 1 hour, 3 minutes, and 42 seconds. And we'll see if he is up for an interview.
It's a very satisfying finish time. It's not exactly like a 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, but at least all the numbers are there. Hi, Fleury.
Hi. Never challenge Dia to a jet seed, right?
Well, and as soon as we started seeing that darkness crystal and the magma key and just all of the stuff that the seed kept throwing at you.
Yeah, it was, for an Oscar seed, it was probably one of the nicer seeds that, I've ever seen. There's, I guess the obvious difference between the two of us was once you get the grind done, you're like, well, do you prioritize objectives or do you prioritize freebies? And I chose, hey, you know what? Let's do objectives. I didn't think I was super behind after the grind, but anytime you're up against Dia in a fast seed, I felt like I was maybe a minute or two. But yeah, just made the decision to go Moon. I mean, that was one of the freest moons you'll ever see. But that just wasn't it. If I do freebies first or I bail on the pan, it's probably interesting. But it wasn't, just a wrong guess. That's how it goes sometimes. Just gotta move on to the next game.
Yep. I have to feel that you fell victim to one of the classic blunders.
Which one?
The most famous of which is never get involved in a land war in Asia, but only slightly less well known is this: never go in against Dia when a jet seat is on the line.
Yeah, that's true. That's how it goes. But I'm not upset with how I played that. I felt like that was about as good as I'm going to get as far as a seed like that. So no worries, and just got to get ready for game 2.
Yeah, absolutely. It was very well played, very entertaining to watch, and a finish time just over an hour. And this flag set, those of us playing in the group stage that were eliminated would kill to have a finish time like that in a table seed. So it's still a very good showcase of your skill, and you're not out of it yet. There is a game 2, and if you win that, you can push this to a game 3 where winner goes to the finals. So a little bit of an uphill climb, but nothing you can't do.
Yeah, hoping for a game 3, if for no other reason, just so everybody has another game to watch. That'd be fun. Frankly, I could play against Dia every day for the rest of the year and be totally content with that. So if just want to get more games in, that's really all it is. Happen to win, great. If you don't, it's been a good run so far.
Ansel is reminding you, just don't tie. No ties.
Well, maybe if we tie 10 times, then we get to face Shenlong in game 11.
If you tie 10 times, I think Scala's going to cancel the tournament.
I think Scala's going to eject me from the server if we tie 10 times.
But yeah, GG's, thanks for putting on this race. It's always a delight watching your race and seeing you and Dia go head to head. Just fantastic showcase of skill all around. I'm out of things to say aside from best of luck in game 2.
Yeah, there was not that much to discuss with that particular seed. So yeah, I appreciate you guys on short notice getting the old midnight crew back together. That was really awesome that you guys are up this late, getting a race at this time. And yeah, just always appreciate all the work you guys are doing. And we'll catch you guys. I believe our next race is Tuesday night, so we'll see you then.
Yeah, see you then. Like that, I'm out of words, Allie. You use the words. I've used up all my words.
Words. Yeah. We'll see you for game 2, and thanks for letting us see the Round the World Odin.
Yes. Oh, yeah, that's actually the thing I want to mention. Did you do that for the style points? Because as soon as you saw Odin, I figured you might reset, but you let it play out.
I thought there was a chance Kane would jump that the around the world, but I when you're slashing around the world, it doesn't matter if you're in the air or not. So yeah, that's always fun to see. But yeah, thanks guys. Y'all have a good one. Asuka totally did it. The body's an electrical, and yeah, you guys have a good day or night.
Good night, Fleury. Yeah, thank you all for coming out to watch this midnight race. Even if you're on the West Coast like I am, and it's only about 10:30 for us. But we are going to be heading on over to raid Puextel, playing some Chrono Trigger, so slightly different Square SNES RPG. Allie, do you have any final thoughts?
Nope. Just come on out for the next matches, and we'll see y'all soon.
Good night, everybody.